In late 1991, Sega released the awful Golden Axe 2 on the Mega Drive to a fairly ambivalent reception. And this reception was justified as it was not a patch on the original. I am not sure if the execs at Sega were paying any notice at the poor sales, but if they were, then it was a brave person who suggested having another stab at a sequel. But this one will be an arcade exclusive. And less than a year after Golden Axe 2, Sega released Golden Axe, The Revenge of Death Adder in the arcades. And in my opinion, this is the true sequel to the original Golden Axe. Housed on the Sega System 32 hardware, Revenge of Death Adder boasts some very impressive visuals for 1992, as well as some outstanding Sonics. Other changes to the game included revising the roster of characters. Only Gilius Thunderhead makes a return from the original game, riding the back of a new character, Goa the Giant. The rest of the cast is all new and includes Stern Blade the Barbarian, Dora the female centaur, and Little Trix, a young lad who carries a pitchfork. The main enemy is once again Death Adder. The magic system has also been tweaked slightly. Instead of building up varying strengths of magic, now each character has a set strength, and the magic is only used once the required amount of potions has been collected. This doesn't affect the gameplay all that much, but it does mean that you can keep collecting potions like nobody's business, and use the magic a couple of times. The Bizarrians are also different, with some scorpions and fire-spitting insects, the more common types found. The player can now also use some of the enemy placements, such as a catapult and arrow machine. The rest of the Golden Axe staples are still there, however, with a revised map screen between each level and the thieves still robbing you as you sleep. Another change to the way the game is played is the addition of paths in certain levels. At certain sections, you will be presented with the option to continue to the left, or move upwards through the level. Again, this makes very little difference to the outcome, and I couldn't honestly tell if one path was tougher than the other, but it's a nice change and gives the player a little more freedom in the game. The quality of the visuals is top notch throughout the entire game. The new 32-bit hardware was certainly put to good use here, and was a great demonstration of what was possible for 32-bit gaming going forward. The detail on all of the main characters is impressive, and almost seems hand-drawn without actually being hand-drawn. The enemy sprites too all look fantastic, with high levels of detail throughout, and those dreaded skeletons are back, and they look better than ever. The backgrounds are every bit as impressive as the sprites, with some nice touches such as the glowing flags in the distance and these pinkish mushrooms spreading off into the distance being some standouts, and the ravaged village towards the end of level 3 looking very much freshly destroyed. It certainly helps create the whole tyrannical and oppressed feel to the level. The magic animations, especially the one with the skull blowing smoke, and the close-up of the enemies as they burn are outstanding as well. After one play of this game, it soon became obvious that visual design had been moved up a few notches. The amazing visuals had some exceptional sound to accompany them as well. The soundtrack is very brooding at places, and the quality of the music is near CD quality. The sound effects really pop out as well, with the potions making this soft cork popping sound. The wind noise of the weapon swipes, the thumps, the kicks, and the sound of metal on metal is a real joy for the ears. The tree-like enemies make this wood creaking noise when they appear, and it just sounds freaking insane. The sampled cries from the first game are all here as well, although the audio has been cleaned up a little to make it a little sharper. The gameplay is a little slower than the original, but it's not a crawl, it still moves along at a decent pace, and the new hardware allows for far more enemies to be on screen at the same time, and this increased enemy count provides plenty of opportunities for the enemy to flank you. The AI has been improved. No longer will enemies simply line up for a beating, or walk aimlessly off a ledge. Nope, the cheap wins are gone. But that's a good thing, right? It does make the game a bit more challenging, and with an average playtime of about 45 minutes, it's about twice the size of the original. The first time I seen this in arcades was in 1994. I hadn't even read about it in magazines. But then I guess, why would a Sega arcade game be mentioned in Nintendo magazines? But I honestly couldn't believe it had been around for 2 years before I played it. In Booth's Enterprise in Glasgow, I would typically play 2 games, Street Fighter 2 and Samurai Showdown. But one day, I just had a wander around and spotted this in between Mortal Kombat and Pit Fighter, which is probably why I never noticed it before, as I hated both of those games. Anyway, after watching the attract sequence, I decided I would have a go. At 50p a go, it was one of the more expensive games, and I think the owner had janked the difficulty all the way to the top, as it was very tough, but it was also such a great game to play. I could barely believe the difference between this and Golden Axe 2 on the Mega Drive, and this was a sequel that Golden Axe fans had been crying out for. As the game was a few years old now, there was never a queue at the machine, and after I told my mate about it, we went back up to Booth's the next time we had a study afternoon. Neither of us could beat the game, and it was too expensive to simply just keep pumping money into it. But we both agreed this was one excellent game. By the time I had discovered it in the arcades, news had already started to filter through into magazines about Sega's new 32-bit CD-based console, and I thought that this game would definitely make an appearance on that machine. Sadly, it never did appear on the Saturn, or any home system for that matter, and that was a real shame. I am sure that the Saturn would have done the Revenge of Death Adder arcade proud, and also helped to shift the Saturn into more homes. But within a year of the Saturn's launch, it was already considered a failure, and with that, the hopes of a home port of this great game faded away. It wasn't until years later that you could play it at home on MAME, and I can say that it is still worthy of a go. It really is that good. Some critics have said The Revenge of Death Adder is the best game in the Golden Axe series. I'm not so sure on that one. I still play the original more than I play Revenge, but I will agree, it is definitely one of Sega's greatest games of all time. And that was my look back at the Revenge of Death Adder on the arcades. If you like this video, then please do give me a sub and a thumbs up, or maybe even a comment or two below about your memories of Revenge of Death Adder. And that's all from me, folks. Thanks for watching.